people in Birmingham yet again. Well done, each and every one of you, for turning out today. You can always rely on Birmingham. You've got a great group of people here in Birmingham organising things, and I'm honoured to be invited up here again to speak to the Birmingham crowd. Great to see so many people out here. What do you think of that placard? Do you agree with that? It's a very strong thing for a grown man, a sane man, a businessman to say, but that is what my government have become. They are genocidal. What other word can you describe that puppet on a string Boris Johnson as genocidal? Murderer, I heard. Literally a murderer. We've got a situation where the government of this country know full well what they are doing. We have hundreds of thousands of qualified, eminent, expert doctors and scientists around the world telling these people in control of our lives what is going on. But do they listen? It's our job as citizens to tell these people that the game is up. The problem that these people have got is that we know. The people in this crowd, I am imagining that most of you are fully awake and most of you are fully prepared to go on the streets and show your feelings. But in addition to you good people of Birmingham and Liverpool and Manchester and London, I know there's going to be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands in London today as well as those people. Do you know what? I think that there is a third of the population that know there is something wrong, but they're not quite sure what it is. Those people are the people that I'm prepared to talk to. Those are the people that I give time to, because we will rely on them. And it is our job to talk to them, and it is our job to be ready in this autumn and winter coming when we know the next lockdown is coming. We've all known that. We know what's coming. The truth is in plain sight. But it's our job to awaken those middle third of the people, not just in this country, but also around the world. That's very important. There was an American lawyer, a prominent American lawyer in the early 20th century called Louis Brandeis. He famously said that the most important political office is that of the individual citizen. Ladies and gentlemen, that is you, every single one of you. And this is what we need to do, because we need to stop the murder of our fellow countrymen. Boris Johnson, you are a murderer. But I'm going to congratulate the UK government now. Yes, I am. The UK government have pulled off the biggest con and the biggest fraud in history. They have put together behavioural human science like has never been seen before, and a good proportion of the people of this country have fallen for it. We all know them. But the problem is the cat is out the bag. Millions of us have learned the truth of what is happening, and hundreds of millions of us around the world have learned the truth of what is happening. We are literally experiencing nothing short of experimental medical treatment, and the people of this country, the people of the world, are the guinea pigs. And we're not standing for it, are we, ladies and gentlemen? What we need to do is get ready for what is coming. This is not freedom. We do not need to be told as grown adults what to do with our children, do we, ladies and gentlemen? When have we ever lived in a society where the well have been quarantined? This is fascism, this is totalitarianism, and it is history repeating itself. What we are experiencing is literally a rerun of the 1930s, and a lot of people are falling for it. Do your history, ladies and gentlemen. We've all done our history. It's our job to tell those people to wake up to what is happening. I've got a yellow Star of David badge on my jacket today, and I've been giving them out. I've run out now because there's so many people want to wear them. These badges were donated by Dave of Two Boomers, and this badge is a very significant thing, and it is a great tribute to the Jews. I know some Jews are a bit concerned about using this symbol, but I say to my Jewish friends, this is the ultimate tribute that we can give you Jews, because what you experienced in the 1930s and the 1940s is being replayed right now in our lifetime. We do not want to live in a society that has segregation. And I know we are in a phony war right now where some people think it's all okay. We're all going back to normal. No, ladies and gentlemen, the sleep people that are listening to this speech, this is not normal. It is not normal to go into a restaurant being told to wear a mask. It is not normal to fly abroad before and only if you have a vaccination paperwork. We do not want to live in a segregated society. We do not want to live under medical apartheid, and that is literally where we're at right now. But it's important. It's important for people to get real about what is happening. I was in London on Thursday with the paratroop guys and with quite a good proportion here from Birmingham. And we were thwarted, to be honest, we were thwarted by the London Metropolitan Police from the aim that we had to occupy a building. But you know what? We only lost a little battle there. We ran the London Metropolitan Police ragged around London. They had hundreds of officers out because they're scared of us. They're scared of the people. We are the 99%. Talking of percentages, what has happened to our society when so many grown adults ignore the fact that 99.97% of all people who contract the virus do not die? This is not a pandemic. We all know this, and it is our job. It is our job to counter the propaganda that is coming out of 4 Matthew Parker Street, an office in central London where this propaganda is emanating from. The 77th Brigade, a brigade of the British Army, are working directly against the interests of the people. This is really serious what is happening. And I say to the police officers at the back of this crowd, thank you for your discreet policing. You need to tell your London Metropolitan Police officers how to do policing. But the real test, gentlemen, is going to be in a month or two's time when your governors have a tyrannical Prime Minister telling you to act as agents of the state. What are you going to do then? What are you going to do to your friends and neighbours when you come into this crowd with batons, which is what I've seen before? That's going to be the real test, and it's just around the corner, and you need to look into the mirror this evening when you get home, and you need to remember that oath of office that you swore. And you swore to protect the people against criminals and the government. I had the pleasure last week to meet a Milton Keynes funeral director called John O'Looney. An interesting name, not to be forgotten. That is a man of Irish stock, but he is a true man of England. That man, the funeral director of Milton Keynes Family Funeral Services, he lives just around the corner from where I live in Milton Keynes. My name is Jeff Wyatt, by the way. Yes, Jazz is right. I have been arrested. I have been incarcerated for 6.5 hours. I was charged for the audacious crime of standing up at Speaker's Corner and doing exactly what I'm doing now, because we live under draconian regulations. And I spent 3 days in Westminster Magistrates Court, and I offered a common law submission, and the judge completely ignored it. But I learned from that experience, and the next time I was in court, which was just a few weeks later, because I did not pay a fixed penalty notice handed to me by the Leicester Constabulary. When I didn't pay that, I was summoned to appear before Leicester Magistrates Court. Eventually, I submitted a fresh common law submission, and strangely enough, 3 weeks later, the CPS dropped the charges. Common law is real, and everybody needs to do a little bit of study. I've spent 18 months studying common law. It is real, but there's a reality about common law, ladies and gentlemen, that not everybody speaks about. And that reality is those in control, those people that are in control of these buildings, they don't care. They are quashing our inalienable rights. We are living in a time when 1,000 years of English history and British history has been ignored by the ruling class, because the motivation of what is going on here is the most deepest, sinister motivation of the lot. It's been touched on before by a couple of speakers. Depopulation is the motivation. The truth is in plain sight. We've woken up. The cat is out the bag. And I say to all of you, stand tall, stand firm, because what is coming is not very pleasant. I have stocked up with food. I have stocked up with fuel. I have stocked up with cash. I have warned the people around me of what is coming. A lot of them think I'm a nutter. Do I look like a nutter? Good answer, thank you. The winter is not going to be pleasant. It's already happening on the streets of Melbourne today. You've probably all seen the videos of what is happening with the men and women of Melbourne fighting back. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we've got to do. There's one thing turning up at a demo with a fiercely worded placard like this, but you need to get ready for physically confronting the police that hopefully are not going to be these gentlemen who are here today. Hopefully they are going to tell their colleagues, we're here to protect the people, not kill the people. Is that you? Is that you? We live in a country where policing is by consent. And whenever I go to London, those police have not got my respect, because I have seen the London Metropolitan Police be Gestapo-like on far too many occasions. Let's hope the West Midlands Constabulary do not totally lose the respect of their people. I'm lucky I live in Milton Keynes, and the Thames Valley Police have been nothing but reasonable and fair to me. In fact, 4 weeks ago, they witnessed an assault on me. I was doing political campaigning in the shopping centre building in Milton Keynes, and I was assaulted by a member of the security staff. Fortunately, I'd already called for police help because I knew what was coming. Those policemen stopped me getting a kick in. What did I do wrong? I stood up with Piers Corbyn, politically campaigning. And this is what this country has become. But we are needing the numbers. It's numbers that count. This is a great regional gathering, and this is where I think the future lies. It's all very well doing the big London protests, which are great. One is going on right now in London, and that's fantastic. But do not underestimate the power of these regional and local campaigns. The Yellow Board protests that have been initiated by David Clues of Unity News Network are fantastic. Up and down the country, from Aberdeen to Plymouth, people are regularly on the roadsides getting that message out to that middle third of the population that no, there is something wrong. There is something not right. And there is something not right when children have been given the right legally to tell their teachers that they will take a vaccine. A so-called vaccine that does not conform to a definition of a vaccine. This is the fascism that we live in, and I think this is going to be the issue that wakes up a lot of mothers and fathers. And I'm sure there are lots of mothers and fathers in this group today that will not let their kids be jabbed. I'd just like to finish on mentioning my new friend John O'Looney, the Milton Keynes funeral director, who is a real man of England. There is a man that has witnessed firsthand the genocide that my placard talks about. I heard him speak last Tuesday, and he talked about last April, May and June, when all he was being called to was care homes. Care homes where the old people were dying, where midazolam was used incorrectly. He told me on Tuesday that the dosage was up to 4 times what it should be. This is murder, and it's on your head, Matt Hancock. What we are talking about here is really serious stuff. I've often said to my kids, it's not a matter of life and death. But you know what? Right now, it is a matter of life and death. People are dying. I know people that have died because of the lockdown. A friend of mine's wife in lockdown number 1 who was suffering from depression severely back in March last year. She was told by her doctors that she could not see her family. That night she hung herself in Milton Keynes Hospital. That is a real casualty. And my friend Tony is only just getting over it, quite rightly. He'd never get over it. How do you get over something like that? And these are the real victims of this unnecessary lockdown and forced vaccinations of people. The coercion is not what we do in England. There is something called the 1947 Nuremberg Code that gives us the inalienable right to refuse any medical treatment. And there's a reason for that, because we do not want to repeat what happened to the Jews and the Gypsies and the handicapped in the 1940s. We need to remember that. And unfortunately, we've got a Prime Minister that does not give a toss. Boris Johnson, let me repeat, you puppet on a string. You puppet on the string of the New World Order, because this is what it's all about. The real reason this so-called pandemic is being perpetrated against the people is because they want everybody to comply with digital ID. That is what the NHS track and trace is all about. It's not about health, it's about control. Do we want to be controlled? Great to see you, everybody. Keep up the good work in Birmingham. See you next time.